and welcome. This is Amanda, the Nerdy Crafter, and I'm here today to go over a really cute project that I will be demoing at my craft retreat coming up in July in just a few days. But I want to put together a video for all of those that are not able to attend or for those that are able to attend but didn't have a chance to finish up the project. So what we're going to be working on today is a couple of my favorite companies. It's a company called All in creates this amazing washi tape scene, and it comes in a roll like this, so we'll show you how to use this. And then what we're also going to be doing is we're going to turn this into a light up card. So simply press here and this lights up. So this is a light up card from my friends at Pear Press. I absolutely love this company. I love demoing for them. I just actually came back from Vegas where I had the opportunity to do a demo with them at a trade show. So I'm so blessed to be able to use this product and show you how it works. So let me go over quickly what we have in front of us just so you can see a little bit of the Pear Blossom Press lineup. We've got some twinkle lights. We've got a candle light, which is one of my favorite. I kind of call it a wish light also. It's one that you actually blow out the candle. And I don't have my sample here with me, unfortunately. I left it at home, or else I'd show you some of the Ha supplies. So these are the teardrops or the raindrops that we turn into the light. The candlestick, some vellum. We're going to be using a one light today. So it's one element, one light. We have our stamp set and then the new tea ruler, which we'll also be using. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to move all this good stuff out of the way so we can start playing, and we will pull in a lot of this fun stuff throughout. Okay, so the puppies just barked, so I put us on mute for just a second so we could get started without the puppies. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to pull out just the different supplies that are going to come in the kits that I've prepared for my retreat. This here is 3.5 by 4-inch piece of white piece of paper. And I use that. I like to put a white piece of paper behind the washi tape. I just find that it makes it pop. And I do like a little bit of the distressed edges out on the sides. So that's how I use that. I am using a laminated or glass mat. Underneath here is my glass board studio. Unfortunately, the light's reflecting off. That's why I put this other one on top of it. But I absolutely love my glass board. So I use that a lot when I'm watercoloring and when I'm not recording, because it's really fun, but it just has a lot of glare. This is a little bit of glare, but not as harsh as the glass board does for recording purposes. So a nice surface to work off of that the washi tape won't stick to. So then you just simply pull out the washi tape and you'll find there's natural breaks in the washi tape. So you can see here, right here, this blank spot is a natural break. So that's going to show me where each of the various layers separate. So I'm just coming in here. I'm going to tear at that natural break. I'm going to line that up on the top of my card and place it down. And I'm going to do the same thing on the second one, pull it out, and there's a little break in here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to tear off that. And now I'm going to start matching it up from the middle. So I'm going to line this up where those macaroons match. And a little shy there. So let me just gently lift that back up. And it's kind of like I want to scooch it in. So I'm going to kind of come in and scooch it in until it matches and touches. And then I'm going to lay that one down. Even if there's a little bit of a separation or line in there, it's okay. All these little imperfections show that items are homemade and not store-bought. So the imperfections are what make it homemade and perfect. Same thing, I'm just going to slide this in. And as you can see, I'm kind of lifting the backside up and just tipping the top forward until I get it lined up right where I want it. Once I get that lined up, I set that one down. And last but not least, now I get about 20 to 24 cards out of each roll. So that gives me a whole lot of bang for my buck. I can make some absolutely gorgeous cards with each of these rolls. And there's so many pretty designs out there. And last but not least, now I do have a little bit of an extra here, so I can have the choice of leaving that extra or trimming it off. I think I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. So give me 2 seconds to trim that off. I'm going to pull in my paper trimmer here. So many choices, to leave or not to leave. and I change it every time. So every time's a little bit different. All right, so I have that there. Now with mine, I did pull in a little bit of distress ink and ink those edges up. That is personal preference. If you like, I'm going to pull in my tea dye one, and I'm just going to come around the edges, kind of muddy it up just a little bit. My blender brush is put away. I'm getting ready for the retreat, so I got everything packed up and ready to go, but I'm like, I need to finish these videos. So not all of my tools are as handy as they normally are, but that is okay. The next thing that we want to do is we want to poke a hole for where the candlelight is going to be. And I'm going to wait to do that because I need to get everything laid down first. So let's grab our paper. So I'm just going to make sure that this fits. I think I cut this page a little extra long because I did the 12 by 12 paper. So I want black to be here, and I cut this one. So you have the choice if you want to do a layer or not. I'm going to choose to do a layer. So this one is cut regular. So I'm just going to come in and bring it down 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides. And then I'm going to bring in my ruler. I think that one is going to work for the next piece. It will not work for this one. Let me just double check. This one's going to work. So we've got 1/8 of an inch. A 1/4 of an inch. I think I went a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So I need my other ruler. So they have 2 T rulers, Pear Blossom Press has come out with. One of them is an A2 card. The other one is an A7 card. The A7 card size is a brand new one that just came out. And what makes these super special is a couple different things. So one, the T ruler helps you zero center. So I can see here on my horizontal side, this is where my zero center is. So this is the center of my card. And these little dots here show me thirds. So third, third, and third of my card. And then same here, my center plus third, third, and third. But if I were to flip this over, this little jig here gives me 3/8 inch border. So if I were to put my paper in, I had a 3/8 inch border all the way around and nestled it in there, it would line up all the way around. This side has 1/2 inch all the way around. Now the A7 does the same thing with a 5 by 7 card with my zero centering, but my jig on this one is 1/8 of an inch. So I come in here and I line that up, and that's 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and or 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to be our next one. Is going to be the 1/4. So this one's going to be the 1/8. The other one's going to be the 1/4. So I'm just going to line that up there. Grab my favorite glue of all times. This is the Barely Art glue here. Okay, so once I have that glue down, I'm going to just nestle my card, make sure it's opening in the right direction. Pull in my Pear Blossom Press, line that up, and then I'm going to place this paper right in that little jig there. Perfect. So now my card is evenly spaced all the way around where I have astigmatism and my eye just does not work. That allows me to do that, which is just fine. It just is what my eye is. So that one is 4. So I'm going to bring this one down also 1/4. And then, let's see. Our paper's 5.5. The first one I did 5 1/4. So I need to bring this one down by 5 to make it layer. So see, now I've got another layer in here. Now this one I'm not going to glue down yet because I have to put my light up element behind it. So this will be held off for just a minute to glue this piece down. But I do need to glue this part down first. I need to figure out where I want this to line up. Now I do need to pull it down a little bit for a couple of reasons. So I need to bring it down a little so that way I have enough room for my light up element to come in. So I'm going to grab my candlestick. I've got a purple one this time. Just randomly pulling that. And then grab our raindrop, teardrop. And there are a couple different sizes in here. I'm going to go with a big one this time. So I just want to see how far down I need that to be in order to add my light up element. So if I do that, with my light being in that region, yep, that should work. So I'm going to line it up down here. I'm going to use this black line kind of as my guiding light for there. And just add some glue to the back of this one. So to create the hole for my my flame here, I have a couple different options. So one, you can use an awl to kind of drill a little hole. In the stamp and die set that comes with the different sayings and sentiments, there's also a die to cut that out, which if my die machine was here and ready, I would be doing that. Unfortunately, it's not. It is in a very safe location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an awl today because my other option is my crocodile, and that is actually packed for the retreat also. So I've got everything put away in very, very, very safe places at the moment, which I love when I do that. I try to be proactive and, plan things, but that does mean that I don't always have everything I need when I need it, which is just fine because as crafters, we can improvise. So we've decided we want the candle to come up from the macaroon, and it's going to come up where it's right in this area where my light up element's going to be. So I'm just going to grab an awl. I'm poking a hole in my paper, and I want to make sure that that hole is big enough for the light to be able to diffuse into there. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little piece of vellum. So Pear Blossom Press sells vellum. They sell both regular vellum and they also sell some colored vellum. So every once in a while I love to get some of their colored vellum because then you can mix and match the colors and it will help diffuse that light even more. And I'm just grabbing a little punch that I got. Little circle punch here to pop out just a little piece of vellum. I need just a little bit glued behind here. So I'm going to just pop this down. I want as much of that light to be able to come through. I'm going to add a little bit of glue around my hole there. And glue down my vellum. Again, this just simply helps diffuse that light. Otherwise, the light from this one light is very bright and it will blind you. So we don't want to do that. I like you all so much that I would prefer not to blind you. And I go back and forth. Sometimes I go ahead and build all the element and then I put the light on. Sometimes I put the light on and build the element around it. So it just really depends. I have built this one before, so I kind of know where everything's going to sit. So I'm just adding that glue on top of the vellum, and that will allow my teardrop to set. I did add a little bit of extra glue, and I will be doing the same thing to the candle, simply because I want to have a well where this will sit within. And with the Barely Art glue, it dries matte and flat. So it's okay for me to add a little bit more glue to that, knowing that it will dry around it. All right, so the next thing I need to do is grab my battery and my one light. So this is our one light. So this is one button, one light, quick, simple, and easy. In order to assemble this, there is a half moon side of the battery compartment. So wherever this half moon side is where you're going to stick the battery in. Positive side up, so plus side or tech side up, and simply slide that mechanism in there. So once the battery's in there, this little itty bitty yellow piece right here is actually where the light is. So I cover that with my finger and I turn it on. It is a very, very bright light, so that's why I always recommend covering it or turning it upside down to test it to make sure that it's working properly. So once I have that light of element there, I wanted my light to be here. I just want to make sure that it's not showing through. And then I'm going to place my battery. Oops, that's kind of why we do that. There. Okay, perfect. So once I figure out where I want that, I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, which I had a roll of it here yesterday. And I'm sure that I put it in a safe place. Here it is. Okay. So I like to add just a little bit of double-sided tape to the top of my battery compartment. I generally put the push on after the fact with some sort of element. For this one, I'm going to put a star on. I have a star punch with some different metallic papers where I'm going to put that on and add that on after the fact. The reason I do that is because I can always line up where that push is going to be. It makes my life a lot easier than trying to align this right where that push needs to be. I could stamp up here the push and then line up everything else after. Let me just check, see if I can do that. Actually, I can. So if I go right there, okay, I have an eyeball of where I need that to be. There's a little dot right there. We're going to live on the wild side. Are you ready for this? I'm going to grab my stamp. Pretty sure I got a block right here with me. Nothing like improvising and working, living on the wild side and doing things. Don't we love that? It's what adds creativity. It's the first time this one has been used, so I'm just going to burnish it with my fingers real quick. And then my favorite is the VersaFine ink pad. So VersaFine Clair. Adding a little bit of that. Let me just test this because we never want to stamp directly, especially the very first time, without testing. If I can find a piece of paper. I'm just going to test it right behind me. There we go. I tested off camera because I actually tested it in my planner. Adding some embellishments for my planner. And I'm going to put that push right there. There we go. Give that just a second to dry. Make sure my light's going in the right direction. I'm breaking all my rules here today, ladies and gentlemen. It's all good. Perfect. Okay, that line lined up beautifully. And then I'm just going to simply turn that over. The next thing we want to do is add some double-sided tape or foam tape. Sorry, foam tape, not double-sided tape, to the back. The Pear Blossom Press foam tape, which is double the thickness, is actually out of stock right now. So I'm just going to come in with just these little foam squares. It will require me to double them up. So in order to be the right height for the battery compartment, so the battery compartment is the same height as the foam, I just have to double it up, which is fine. I'm just going to throw a few on here. I'm going to take off this top layer. So the Pear Blossom Press foam tape, why is it awesome? Why do I recommend buying it when it comes back into stock? It is double in thickness, so you only have to put one layer on. You don't have to put two layers on. It is repositionable for up to 30 minutes. It is permanent overnight, and it is so easy to pull off the backing paper. The backing paper comes off like butter. These foam squares are absolutely wonderful. They work great. I use them all the time, but if I have a choice, I'm going to go ahead and use my Pear Blossom Press foam tape when it comes back into stock because it really does make a difference. So I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to add that second layer now. And I want this to be sturdy. I don't want a whole lot of give in the various areas. That's why I'm adding, extra foam. I want it to lay nice and even with the battery compartment. And I just want you to know for now, if you cannot get the foam, which is out of stock, I did put a request in to be notified when it comes back into stock, and I highly recommend doing that because it is the world's best foam tape. I have 2 rolls of it, and I covet it, so I hold on to it for dear life because it is my absolute favorite. And we might be using some of my very favorite foam tape for the glass. We'll see. If I can find enough of this foam tape, we'll probably be using this. But if not, then we'll dig into my coveted foam tape. All right. So for this one, it is, I could use my T-roller to help line it up, but because it is raised up, it's a little more difficult to line it up. I am going to go ahead and just squiggle on just a little bit of wet glue here. What that allows me to do is it gives me just a couple seconds to wiggle and move this around. So while I'm laying this down, it gives me just that little bit of extra that I need to do to test and make sure that that works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was so much fun. We put together our first card for the Craft Retreat. If you're interested in any of these supplies, I'll have them linked in the description box below. Or please put a comment in, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with all the different supplies that we utilized here today. This is such a fun and quick project. I love that the washi tape is ready-made. They make beautiful designs for us. We add in a little bit of light-up element, and it just makes that wow factor with the card. Even if you didn't have the gorgeous light up element, just simply adding the candle and the little teardrop or the flame to it just makes such a world of difference. I'd love to see what you make if you decide to get some of this washi tape also. Hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for joining. Talk to you later. Bye.